Autonomy supportive parenting isn't necessarily permissive. It's not saying whatever you want to do is fine, but it is parenting that acknowledges adolescents' own views, desires, attitudes, and just takes time to discuss those when those are in conflict with a limit that the parent wants to set, for instance. So with using media, especially, autonomy supportive parenting might, set limits around things that the parent feels are important, but also then engage with the adolescent and talking about, what media they're using, why that media is important to them, why they might push back on a limit or feel it's not fair or not, in keeping with what their peers are doing. So there would be a lot more room for connection through that type of conversation in an autonomy supportive parenting style. And autonomy supportive parenting in general has been connected with kids having more internal resources, like more self-esteem, and also less what we would call externalizing behavior, less acting out, less risky behavior in all sorts of ways. When we look at some risky online experiences, we're really looking at kind of the total of an adolescent's experience online that might, be more negative than positive. So we're talking about things like engagement in cyberbullying or online aggression, like either as someone who feels victimized by aggression or as someone who's being aggressive. We're talking about encounters with strangers online. We ask the adolescents, do you perceive that your parent supports your autonomy, or do you perceive that they're more controlling? Again, those are two different but kind of related things. And what we found is that kids who said their parents were more autonomy supportive felt more comfortable discussing things with their parents, and that ability to discuss seemed to be related to having fewer of those risky online experiences. And part of that might be that if you're in a relationship with your parents that feels autonomy supportive, you're also kind of learning some of those relational skills that you can apply in your own relationships. Not only does it mean that kids are more able to talk to you, they might also be learning how to talk through difference. That's not something we can show with our research, but it's something that is interesting to me and something that makes sense to me, that in the way that we're parenting, we're also modeling for kids how they can engage in conflicts that they inevitably are going to have either online or offline.